right, I guess we're just jumping right into this.
Yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Destiny Digest, a bonus episode. I am your host, TBL, TheBlackLink, your only host, the only host you've ever actually had on this show. If you're seeing things differently now, it's because you are now worthy to see that things aren't the same. And we are back with a nice little bonus episode for you all to get on into. We've got a couple of very special guests here to shoot the breeze and shoot other words that I'm not allowed to say on this show. Our first guest, Mr. Dan Finity. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. Long time, first time. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I've been fighting to get you on this show for a long, long time, man.
You know, schedules just happened to line up. I was very happy to accept the invitation. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. You know, with such a large celebrity as yourself, the podcast master, it's almost like you've been hosting this show for the entire time, and I'm just the neophyte, and I'm here to learn from the master. So it's great to have you here.
You know what? It's felt like it. It's weird.
Yeah, I get that, brother. Our other guest tonight, the one, the only, we can't even call him Nim Plays anymore because he doesn't go by that. He's the artist formerly known as Nim Plays. What do you want us to call you?
You can continue, just Nem or Jordan.
I'm going to call you Jordan.
So obviously, you know, it used to be Nem Plays, but because I kind of like stepped away from like streaming and podcasting with you goofs and just kind of just dialed in on just, you know, virtual photography over on social media and stuff. So figured it was just kind of time to say goodbye to the old handle. And you can just either Nem if you're comfortable, or Jordan, either or.
Yeah, no, I mean 100%. And I always found that was kind of an interesting thing for you to do because you did have a bit of brand recognition with the Nim Plays tag. But you moving on to a different name, even under, you know, your real name, Jordan.
Yeah,
it's almost kind of like a graduation out of being purely a Destiny-focused digital photographer. And that term I love entirely because, holy crap, what a 2023 thing to say. I do digital photography. It's a legit thing with all of the things that we have, with all the video games in the world that we have that are just absolutely gorgeous. The notion of going out and just taking world photos, set photos, character photos of all of it really does strike true. And anybody who's gone through your Twitter account can see some of the stuff. The pictures you pull from Final Fantasy XIV. I hope you're enjoying G-Pose, by the way, brother. The stuff that you've pulled out of Destiny is really phenomenal. And I'm really, every time I see you post a new game or a new picture from the game, it's like, all right, adding to a folder. Swiping this one. It's going to be a background somewhere on my phone. I still have one of your shots as my background on my computer.
Oh?
Yep.
Really? Which
100%. One from the Vault of Glass.
Oh, okay. Those. I really like how those came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff.
No, I mean, you know, after you know we kind of dissolved away from Planet Destiny. You know, my biggest focus was never going to be, you know, try to make you know, streaming or content creation a full-time thing. So I decided to kind of just focus more on like the real life aspects, but you know, obviously with doing virtual photography and, you know, that's a legit career path nowadays that you can do in studios and stuff like that. Right. Exactly. You know, kind of wanted to move away of the digital footprint of, you know, a quote unquote content creator, which I never really considered myself one to be, to being able to just focus and highlight the stuff that I do with like virtual photography and stuff. So figured it was a good transition to do.
Heck yeah. Well, I mean, at least you're like, you're starting fresh, you know? Like it kind of like, you then started like doing stuff for Final Fantasy XIV. And so like, are you finding that you're like becoming more known for Final Fantasy XIV shots than Destiny shots? Or
no, my like follower count has been bleeding ever since I stopped posting a lot of consistent Destiny related stuff, which is understandable. You know, a lot of people originally followed me for Destiny stuff. Granted, you know, every now and then when I peek my head back into the game, I'll take shots here and there. I recently took a few of the Root of Nightmares, raid, and thanks to my good old bud Paul Tassi retweeting one of my tweets, and then I got another influx of Destiny people.
Yeah,
just to bleed out.
yeah.
You're just restocking blood to bleed out again later.
A little bit.
Yeah, but no, I mean that's kind of the thing. You've really kind of divorced your online identity from being exclusively tethered to Destiny, and especially when it comes to the notion of the stuff that you want to do now. I think that is of paramount importance. You can't be pigeonholed into just creating content for one particular game, and I applaud you for taking the step to go ahead and do that, and may you continue to see success in that. Because good Lord, you were already pretty good at the whole digital photography thing. You've only gotten better as time has gone on. And as you've discovered more and more games that have some of the features in place for specifically tailored for digital photography, again, I'll bring up Final Fantasy XIV and G-Pose as an example. You're only getting better, and I can only see the sky as the limit for you, man.
I appreciate that. I mean, honestly, like I said, as someone who's trying to like eventually make their way into a studio as a game capture artist, I think that's just kind of, an easy way for, as a digital portfolio, I suppose. So I figured that's kind of like the fourfold now of just kind of like my social media stuff. And with G-Pose, it's a dedicated camera mode system. And even in games that don't have one, like Elden Ring, there are mods out there that allow you to do photo mode. Otis in particular is one of the best one where you can inject the mod into the game and you just get free range camera control.
That's right.
It's a thing of beauty. And again, a couple of thanks to Paul. He's used several of my Elden Ring shots for like his articles when he was writing about Elden Ring. So I got was really thankful for that.
So what are there any games like coming along the horizon that you're like, you know what, I want to take photos for that game. Like this game looks pretty, or
doing that right now with Jedi Survivor.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that expect a lot of Star Wars stuff to come out into the timeline. I already have a thread going on social media where I'm gonna constantly update it with Star Wars images and stuff. It's a beautiful game. It's gorgeous, and it brings a dedicated camera mode. So
I haven't been able to jump into it yet. Like the plan was to do it on Friday, but then I had like a snafu with the episode.
Oh no!
And I was like, well, this is my entire day. Sad, but like I'm very excited to get. I think it's the only Star Wars that I care about anymore.
It's so good. It's really good. They do well with it.
TBL, your face. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Listen, I stopped watching Mandalorian like 3 episodes ago.
Oh man, I haven't even watched the new season.
Else I care. It's not great. Yeah, no, Jedi Survivors are about the only thing that I'm super excited for too. So
yeah, there was that, and Redfall's coming out on Tuesday. I'm looking forward to that game coming out. Not stoked on like 30 frames per second on console, but what are you gonna do?
How is that still a thing?
Microsoft probably needed to push something out, right?
Listen, performance doesn't matter right now. It's pretty. Put it out. We need it. Those PS5 sales are starting to catch up a little bit. We need something.
Get it on the Game Pass.
Yeah, get it on Game. Wow, Game Pass is good.
Yeah, it is good. What about you, TBL? What have you been playing?
Oh man, it's since we really stopped doing the Planet Destiny thing. By the way, surprise everybody! I'm not really the host of this show. I know you couldn't have possibly been able to tell that. This is Destiny Digest. This is Mr. Dan Finity's product, and he was gracious enough to invite Nim and myself on.
Yeah,
jumped at the opportunity because we love him, and really thrilled about having an opportunity to sit back and chat with you guys in a more unorganized format. But since we really finished up Planet Destiny, It's been kind of all over the place. I went through a retro game binge where I started playing through some of my favorite titles from back in like the NES and the Super NES phase. Worked my way up to the N64 where I started going through old RPGs from the PlayStation 1 and N64 era. I refinished Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX, Ogre Battle 64, Quest 64, which is one of my favorites from back in the day. Not a great game, but one of my favorites. And right now, I am on like probably my 76th playthrough of The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Oh my lord. Man has been working on it.
He got my money again. and outside of that, just, I still play Destiny. I still basically do that grind every single week, pop in and out of content with that. But really just a lot of classic retro games. Destiny 2 and Final Fantasy 14 has really been what's been pulling, what's been siphoning my attention away from real life responsibilities for the past half a year. But it's good, it's when you really a lot of the times we kind of get caught up playing one or two or maybe three specific games for a really long period of time. And we feel like, we just really don't have the time to go do anything else or go play anything else. Or here's a game that we wish we could have gotten into. But when you take a step back, you really kind of get a chance to look back at the entire breadth of video gaming history and say, wow, there's a lot of really, really great fun games to play out there. And you just have to take the opportunity to step back and do it, And it's something that maybe I never would have really given myself the time to do, particularly back during the days of Planet Destiny, because I was spending so much time not just playing Destiny, but creating content for it. It seems like when you're a part of that content creation grind, it every single week it feels like there's a huge list of things for you to do. Here's a weapon that just dropped that's got like new perks or something on it that can create some pretty goofy combinations in PvE or PvP. Here's a new character or class build that you just figured out. It's one of my favorite things to do in Destiny right now is to make different builds and whatnot. And you feel like you got to make guide videos for all of that. Bungie just dropped a new exotic mission with no heads up. Got to make a guide for that.
I got the next 5 hours to make this video.
You got the next 5 hours. Yeah. And legit, that's how it was. You wake up. All right, it's reset time. I guess I'll go run a strike. And there's an exotic quest. I have T-minus 4 hours and 58 minutes to get this entire guide video up and finished. And maybe when I get back from work at midnight, I'll be able to play a little bit of Destiny too. So it's really nice. It's been really nice not having to worry about any of that and just being able to sit back and enjoy gaming again. Yeah. It's I'll never say I've regretted anything about Planet Destiny. I loved my time working there with all of you guys and all of that, but it has been nice. Retirement is a beautiful thing. Being able to just sit back and do whatever you want. And so that's been me for the past 6 months. I've been playing a lot of different games and installing titty mods on Skyrim. Oh. Did you not think that's what I do on Skyrim? Come on. Y'all know me.
Yeah. That really kind of hit me out of left field, bro.
That came straight for the gut on that one, man.
How you were riding onto your show, Dan.
I'm so glad you guys came on. So it's been easier since PD ended to get into other things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did you I think there was a mourning period for everybody. When it was done, but was it how quick were you well, Nick, I don't need to play Destiny all the time. What's the next game that I can get my hand on?
Real quick. Because you say a mourning period for it, but I really didn't feel like it was a mourning period for me. When we had that last show, I thought that was such a phenomenal way to sort of close the doors on that sort of chapter. It felt less like a mourning period and more like a celebration of everything that Planet Destiny had been. I was so thrilled with that last show because we got some of our old fan favorite friends to come in and pop in and talk about their experiences. We got to just sit back and hang out and enjoy the work that we had done with PD. So it wasn't so much a period of sadness for me. But I'll tell you, the week after we had our final show and we were pretty much finished with Planet Destiny, I woke up on Tuesday and said, I ain't gotta do jack. I woke up on Thursday when the TWAB dropped and said, I don't gotta do jack. And that's something that's really been, honestly, has really been phenomenal. Yeah. Not having to worry about covering every article, every batch of patch notes, everything, every time Bungie, like, listen, I haven't even read the TWAB for this week.
Yeah.
And we got Guardian games coming up. I don't know what's happening in Guardian games. I haven't really been paying attention to that. That's probably been the biggest benefit. I never disliked making any of that content, but not having to keep myself tied to that schedule.
Yeah.
And just being able to actually jump on and play the game and enjoy it for what it is has been nice.
So for like the first time in the past, 6 to 7 years, you were able to like just enjoy an expansion at your own leisure.
Oh, you know, it's wild to think about, but you're right. For the first time in 6, almost 7 years, I was able to, when Lightfall came out, I didn't have to cover anything. I didn't have to make any video guides for anything. I was able to just wake up that morning, wait for the patch to drop, sit down, and I actually got to play it for a few hours before I went to work, rather than, you know, try to rush through and record as much as possible for the 17 videos I have to have out by Wednesday. So no, it was a crazy experience. I got to just sit back, play the game. I don't even think I live streamed for that first day. I think I started streaming like a day or two after that. Certainly after I had beaten the campaign. But yeah, it was. So this is what it's like for everybody else.
This
just gets to play a game.
I get to enjoy this without maybe thinking critically about it.
Yeah, that was maybe that's why I'm not as harsh on Lightfall as maybe some other people have been. It's because I went into it with no real expectations and just got to sit back and enjoy it.
Heck yeah. So I mean, like, I'm assuming that we've all played it. Though like you ran through Lightfall, the campaign, like by yourself at your own pace. Jordan, what about you?
I believe I actually played it the day after it launched. I sat down and was able to go through the legendary version of the campaign because in my opinion that's just kind of like the best way to enjoy those campaigns ever since they introduced legendary with Witch Queen.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I never really had the burden that TBL had where, you know, on release day, you know, you had to get out so many like videos and stuff like that. So I really didn't feel that much of an impact after everything was said and done. I was more kind of a backup just in case if he couldn't get to a video on time. So yeah, no, I mean, I was able to just kind of like enjoy the game on release at my own pace as well.
Heck yeah. Well, like, how did you, I guess the question then is like, how did you guys feel about it? What did you enjoy? What did you, what were you like, like maybe cock your head out a little bit and then,
man, so it had some the theme that Lightfall carried of, you know, kind of like this cyberpunk 80s action movie. I think it played that pretty well in certain areas, particularly when you're learning Strand. And you have the training montage with Osiris. I do feel like the Lightfall campaign definitely didn't land as strongly as the Witch Queen one did for me. You know, Strand, the introduction of Strand felt a little weird. I think that was definitely like the first moment in the campaign where it was just kind of like cocked my head out a little bit. You know, with Stasis, for example, you're kind of introduced to it via Aramis, and then, you know, the darkness splinters and stuff like that you have to collect and bring to the ziggurat, as opposed to when you take that comparison and you look at Lightfall with Strand, you get the first glimpse the moment you land in Neomuna, and you turn into an alley and there's Strand.
Yeah.
With no real explanation.
With no explanation. And
hey, look at you hanging out here.
Yeah, and
look at that, a new power.
Yeah, I understand that the developers wanted us, the players, to be like the first people who actually discover this power.
Yeah.
I just wish there was a little bit more of exploration into it, not just here's the thing, you can use it now for the period that it gives you. But I mean, Strand itself, fantastic. I mean, if you compare that to Stasis, this launched in a much better state than Stasis did, especially in the PvP side of things. I loved using Strand. It was really, really fun.
Certainly less broken in PvP than Stasis was at its beginning.
Yeah. I'm
good.
I was just gonna say, very easily suspension could have been very annoying in PvP, but
oh yeah,
they had that really well balanced out from like the get-go. I thought that was really well done.
They also had they had the forethought to allow you to fight within it too, which I think was that was something that kind of stuck out when I got suspended the first time. I was like, oh, I can still fire. Like, we're still good.
Yeah.
The first time it happened to me, I was using the last word, so it just didn't mean anything to me. It's like, oh, I'm floating. Well, bye.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly better than the rocky introduction of Stasis, where you got hit with any grenade and it was just you got turned off. You're sitting there frozen for 5 seconds. It was a guaranteed death. I'll 100% echo the notion that Strand was certainly introduced in a more balanced manner than its darkness predecessor. And really, I'll mirror a lot of your statements there, Nim. I think overall Lightfall's fine. It's perfectly fine. The story's garbo.
It's an 80s action movie.
It's an 80s, it's an 80s action movie, but I get the feeling that and I don't know if this has been confirmed or not, but it feels like Lightfall was really probably the introductory part of Final Shape that got hastily cut out of Final Shape and turned into its own expansion. Just with the way some of the narrative unveils there. Some of the cutscenes don't seem to be in order, with the witness showing up at the very beginning, carving like a triangle into the traveler.
Okay.
Or fighting him, and then just waiting. Just standing there and waiting until we finish the story. So was he just sitting there floating in space staring at her
for like a week?
Oh, I didn't.
For like a week.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, he was there for a week. He was
just standing there like, are they done yet? Good God.
Time means nothing to him. It could
That's the reason for the angsty, angry phone calls to Callus that he was making. Have they gotten to the Veil yet? Callus is like, what is the Veil? Have they gotten to it yet? No. Between that and just some of the narrative spots there within the story, felt to me like it was more hastily cut and thrown together and probably a part of a bigger thing. And if whether or not that ever gets confirmed or not, who knows? That's just kind of what the narrative felt like to me. But I think that's kind of represented again in what Nim said. The fact that we just kind of stumble onto this planet and, oh, hey, here's this green thing. It's Strand, which clearly I think was supposed to sort of be hinted at back in Witch Queen. If you remember the deep sight sort of psychic things that we were doing to find paths, that was Strand. If anybody didn't recognize it there, and that kind of ties into the whole notion that Strand is kind of a psychic connection to the paracausal that we as Guardians have. But it just felt like for this expansion, they're like, we don't really know a narrative way to introduce this, so we're just gonna have it show up. It's like, oh, hey, here's a new power.
And we have so next season with Season of the Deep, we have the actual Veil mission that we'll be getting. And we'll be getting a hand cannon out of that. But that almost, I wonder if that was something that was slated for like launch, and they were like, well, maybe like we have too much here, and maybe we need to add something into the deep so that it like, pure speculation, but like that it for some of the was it some of the ad copy or some of the imagery that we got with that hand cannon for launch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the promotional materials for Lightfall, where that hand cannon was front and center. It seems like it was supposed to be there from the start, as well as, an explanation for what the veil is. That's kind of another that's kind of another one of the story bits there. They kind of jump into a lot of expository information without really explaining it. But we got to go save the Cloud Ark. What's that? We got to go get the veil, and they just kind of pretend everybody knows what the veil is.
Just slow your roll. Just slow your roll. We'll get to the veil, but you need to go protect it. Okay, just go protect it.
Yeah, okay? I think go get the thing.
I think that's one of the biggest weak points in the narrative is that they try to convey a sense of importance to protect. To protect this thing, and it's like the entire time that I was going through it, I'm like, okay, but what is it? Why is it important? There's a lot of exposition in there that felt like it was missing, but then it was like later revealed that we're getting that in Season of the Deep. And I think, again, if we just kind of like look back towards Witch Queen, where that campaign felt full, it just felt a little bit more complete. Like I didn't finish Witch Queen and it was left with a lot of questions as to like why these events happened and who was at fault or whatever. As opposed to with Lightfall, I was like, what is it? Why am I doing this? How do we know immediately of its location? But I guess it's because Osiris had like the memories of Savathûn.
Neo Mooney know what it was. They've never heard of the veil before. Suddenly, oh yeah, the veil. Yeah, that thing. It's down here.
Well, what was it? Seth has been calling this a like filler arc. Is that it feels like the filler arc on like a TV show.
But yeah, I mean, again, it did the campaign did some things really well. Particularly, the highlight of the campaign for me was the cutscene with Osiris and Nimbus. Where they're talking about the Puka, and Osiris immediately like tries to bring up Sagira, and that was a really, really, really good scene, and it's probably one of the only scenes in the campaign that to me carried any weight to it. But question for the round table here: how did y'all feel about Callus?
I like him.
More so, okay, let me emphasize, how did you guys like his encounter?
Oh. So the one of the only videos that I made during the launch week of Lightfall was a video of the Callus encounter, in which I just proceeded to ignore absolutely everything, throw fusion grenades at him, and kill him in about 2.5 minutes.
See, that's incredible.
Like, not the most inspired encounter.
But here's the so like Callus to me has always been the most video game player in Destiny 2. Like going all the way back to the Leviathan. So like like you're going through, he's a robot. And then like not only is he a robot, but he also like sends you into a psych realm where there's a giant floating head and he shoots out skulls while you're being sucked toward him. That's hilarious. That's like, that happens in any arcade. That could have been an arcade game in and of itself. And so like I felt that was rad when by the time I got to Callus on Legendary on launch day, because I did a full stream of it. By the time I got to him on launch day, I was tired, and I was just like, okay, all right, let's just knock him out.
Let's do it.
And then like, so after I got his health bar down, I was like, whew, don't have to worry about that anymore. And he broke his cannon in half and just turned it into 2 melee things. I was swords. Like, oh, this is badass. Like, it was annoying. It was annoying because, like, I really wanted to be done with that day. But then I was like, fuck it, man. He's a video game player. And, like, I gotta beat the video game. So, like...
Yeah, no, I mean, I love Callus's characterization in Lightfall.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime he's on, he's easily the most charismatic character in the story. I would almost say bar none. He, anytime he was on the screen, anytime he was talking, any cutscene with him, I'm glued to it because he's just such a fun character to watch. But because of the notion of the previous Callus fights, you know, where he shoots you off into the Shadow Realm because you lost a Yu-Gi-Oh duel against him, I was expecting a little bit of that within that fight, and so it was kind of surprising to me that it wound up just being a little bit of an arena fight where he shoots a gun at you and then turns into a giant gladiator, and it's like, come at me, bro.
I was all for it. I was like, yeah.
I think it's cool. Yeah, but I almost wonder if they're going to bring any aspect of him back in the future, but who knows?
Yeah, I'm in that same camp with you. The arena fight was pretty cool. I like the way that he had newer abilities.
Yeah.
By sending like the big resonant spikes that kept you pretty much immobile in the arena. I thought that was a really, really cool concept. But I definitely was just left a little bit on the underwhelmed side. When at the end of the day, you know, he was a Colossus in phase 1, and then phase 2, he's a gladiator. When, you know, the robot version of him had these really cool psychic abilities, and I don't know, I felt for a character who had been given like the gift of darkness from the source itself, from the Witness. It was just a little bit of a weird fight. Well, but as a whole, I mean, did you guys like find out like the cheese in legendary mode like after you like beat it once?
What?
No. So like, let's say you finish the campaign on legendary or whatever, and you unlock a strand. The next time you when you go into the legendary. And you have all of your strand kit unlocked with like your grenades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can still pick up the strand empowerment from where like in the campaign where it's like you pick it up to just use it in there.
Yeah.
Little rift.
Yeah. So because you now have your grenades unlocked, that means you also have the shackle grenades unlocked. So the tormentors in that fight are susceptible to the shackle grenades. Yeah. So if you go in there and you with your strand kit and you pick up the strand empowerment, you always have the shackle grenades.
Oh no.
So the tormentors in that legendary fight, when I went back and helped out people with it, they were a joke because you just kept
there like this.
Throwing. Yeah, they're just sitting there like a marionette. Yeah, that made the legendary that particular mission like 10 times more fun. Just cheesing the heck out of this tormentors. It was such a blast.
I was just freezing everything on Warlock. Like you don't have to pick up strand.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, on Warlock, I'm just gonna do this and be done with it.
I saw people clipping videos on Twitter of the tormentor jumping from one gap of the bridge to the other, and then them putting down the freezy rift, and they just freeze him in midair, and he just falls like dead like a Looney Tune. Yeah.
Well, he does it on his own too. Good. Like for whatever reason, like sometimes he doesn't make that gap, and they don't have grapple. Like they can't, they can't scramble up the side of anything. They're just like, well, I guess I'm dead now. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
a little too top heavy.
Really
they just
funny.
tip over.
Yeah. How are you? How do you feel about the tormentors? Do you feel like they're like a really like? I find that they're a fun addition to like the Darkness Guardian champion mix of. Kind of prestige enemies.
I wish that they introduced enemies like the tormentors, like unique enemies like that, a little bit more often in the game, and swap them out with like champions.
Just
get rid of just I don't know, they feel a little bit more I don't know, natural to like fight versus having to use certain loadouts in order to like stun them and stuff like that. I mean, it just reminds me of when like they introduced the wyverns. I think the wyverns were interesting when they also introduced them in. No, I mean, I dig them. I dig the tormentors. They definitely don't live up to this is the scariest enemy you will encounter hype that was behind the marketing, but they were fun. They were definitely a challenge. Going through legendary, it's like, oh, okay, he's gonna suppress. Okay, I'm suppressed. I'm screwed.
Yeah, and then they grab you.
Yeah. I think that's the scariest bit when it happens.
Yeah, because if you're shield broken, it might result in a one-hit kill.
Yeah,
so you gotta watch out for that. But I feel basically the exact same way. I like tormentors as an enemy. I do put them in that same class as like wyverns when they introduced those enemies, which are the big chickens are terrifying in at level content. The biggest thing about them that made me happy is something you just said. They're not just another class of champion. They're not there with the class of champion level enemies that basically just require you to whip out a sidearm so that you overload them or whatever like that. I like that they're unique. I like that they basically have a command grab if you get too close. That's something that Bungie hasn't really played too much with when it comes to enemy types in Destiny, and I'd like to see them expand upon it further. But overall, I like the tormentors. They're an interesting class of enemy. I like that they change a bit when you break their shoulder pads, and they start bum rushing you down. I think that it adds an appropriate amount of variation to their fights.
Right.
But when it comes to the whole, these things are terrifying. Well, not so much when you just jump on a platform and they stop all aggression to slowly jump up and you just drop back off and you're just playing back and forth with them like they're a little puppy. It's great.
Yeah.
I was helping folks.
No, they're cool.
That's AI. You can't do anything with that.
I was helping folks with Rev earlier today, and like he was basically baiting it like you would the light blade. And making sure that it stayed mobile and focused on him while we did DPS
just the entire and forth.
Yeah. And we were in the Hypernet GM, and you can stand on those like pyramids that are in the four corners. You can stand on that, and he's not going to attack you.
He just looks at you like a sad puppy.
He looks at you and like occasionally will like try to sideswipe you with a scythe, but like he can't make his way up there.
Yeah, he's too big.
Yeah, exactly.
He's too large.
So that was something. I like that they gave them kind of oh shit moments throughout.
Yeah.
The campaign where it's just like, okay, I'm in this room. I really just need to get out of here. It seems pretty empty, and then all of a sudden it just drops in on you.
Yeah, and you have two of them to worry about.
Those claustrophobic moments with them are the best. When you don't have those areas to run and hide or go jump up and abuse platform spam on them, that's when they catch you by surprise, and that's when their design really shines. Because again, their range is really deceptive. That grab range can catch you by surprise if you're being a little cheeky and trying to run in and, fourth horseman erase them. It's like, well, no, never mind. You got erased because you got suppressed, shield broken, and then grabbed.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fun. They're a really cool addition
absolutely.
to the game. And, it's definitely something that I would love to see them do with like all of the enemy factions. We got the wyverns with the Vex. I don't really think we have anything else with the other factions just yet.
Yeah,
I mean the Hive. We have the Hive Guardians. Like
yes. I forget about those.
Like ish.
Yeah, yeah.
I would consider them.
They're just confined to their own little corner of the destination maps.
We should see more of them. I think
we will.
Yeah,
I think narratively speaking, we probably are.
There's so Paul Tassi put out an article earlier today, about 10:50 a.m. saying like everything that we know about Destiny 2 Season of the Deep. We're about like 3 weeks out.
Yes.
And so like this is everything we know about the Season of the Deep without leaks, like in brackets without leaks. And like
yeah.
He talks about how we're going to have that Veil mission. it's probably going to have like more of a Taken-y Hive focus. So seeing Hive Guardians back like makes sense. We get a lot of like ability and exotic changes that's already been promised in the past, as well as a new dungeon coming to what possibly is Titan. Are you guys knowing that you don't have to grind up all that power like from this season to next?
Yeah.
Like, are you guys looking forward to next season more? Or
absolutely. I would say that's been one of the biggest, most surprising quality of life changes with Lightfall is the fact that we're moving away from this kind of constant power grind. They've lowered a lot of the power requirements everywhere. And in particular, they've lowered the power requirements for Grandmasters. I think that has done wonders for the number of players who have actually engaged with Grandmaster content out there. I've almost got a Grandmaster title. It's the first time I've ever actually bothered to do it. And it's great. And it's a two-part sort of thing. One is the power notion that I just brought up. The fact that you don't quite have to be as high of a power level to go in there and survive. That's been such a great benefit, especially with some of the difficulty changes they've added in during Lightfall. But number two, the weapon system and the focusing is such a good system that we've got right now. One of the best weapons in the game currently is the returning hung jury. Just absolute top tier scout rifle. It's got a killer combination in shoot to loot and kinetic trimmers, and the adept version of it is just even better. It's absolutely worth the grind. And I love the fact that once you've gotten one of those Nightfall rewards to drop, whether it's the regular or the adept version, you can start focusing them at Commander Zavala. That is such a phenomenal change that I really, really do applaud Bungie for, and I hope that they continue to expand upon it, because your boy Lord Shaxx, good Lord, does he need help. There is nothing to focus over at Shaxx, unless you really need a rocket launcher or something, or haven't gotten a decent Riptide. Hopefully they continue to expand upon that system, because I think Grandmasters are probably the best now they've ever been, even with some of the garbage strike reworks like Lake of Shadows. Rest in peace to the homie.
I don't mind that one. I don't mind that one. Everybody
absolutely hate it.
I don't mind it. Like, ran it today and was like, just keep shooting the nodes, dude. Just keep shooting the nodes in the boss room. You're fine. I
only hate it because I can't super pro speed run it anymore.
That was the thing. Like, a lot of people were talking about the challenge for like Scission and Root of Nightmares, and that loss, or that strike in particular, as like, well, I can't go fast. It's like,
can't go fast.
Well, then don't. Then stop trying to go fast.
You can't play it like that anymore. you gotta accept it's different, play it different. But that's literally it. You can't zoom and then cheese through walls on that strike anymore. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm really looking forward to next season. I think overall, if I were to give a grade to the current season, and like maybe a 6, 6.5, maybe a 7, maybe a 7 out of 10 if I'm gonna be nice about it. But the quality of life changes have been great, and I'm really looking forward to some of the stuff that's going to be coming next season. Well, we won't talk about that because that's kind of spoilery. I don't know everything, but it's hard to escape some of it on Twitter.
Exactly. Yeah, it's tough to not see paste bins and everything. Like that was something that I had to cover a couple weeks ago. That I was like, I read them. Them. Do I talk about them all the time? No, but I prepare for shit using them. So I'm not going to sit there and spoil it. But
I'm looking forward to it. I think the game is mostly in a fine place right now. It's there's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of stuff to grind for, and that's kind of the name of the game when it comes to a looter shooter like Destiny. Do you have stuff to do, and do you have stuff worth going for? And the answer to that, I think, is unilaterally yes right now. And that's a good thing. And I'm looking forward to the changes that are coming next season.
Heck yeah. I'm really loving a lot of the quality of life changes. I've started using builds that I've been finding on YouTube. Just like watching the video, seeing how it works, then clicking the dim link and then adding that as like a loadout. That's been so rad to just kind of do on the fly.
Do you have a favorite class and build right now?
Oh man, so I've been playing a lot. I spent a lot of time looking up builds for my hunter because I ended up hitting Paragon, which that's a whole other subject that we can talk about as the journey. But like I hit Paragon. Like that was the last thing that I needed was a solo Spire of the Watcher. And after probably like 5 or 6 attempts, 3 of those being completely scuffed by a Minotaur just body blocking me off of like a catwalk.
They're too fat. Their cheeks are too wide.
Oh my God. And they just stand there and then kind of nudge you. And it's upsetting.
Yep.
But I think my favorite build that I found out of all of them, I think it was from a YouTuber named Divide, but it was an arc.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, like great build videos. Really enjoy like watching their stuff. But the I think it was the Arc Hunter. Let me see if I can pull it up here. It's an Arc Hunter build based around. Oh God, I gotta clear out my postmaster soon, or else everything's gonna disappear.
Rest in peace with that.
Rest in peace. But it's built around like Assassin's Cowl, and so it was basically you skipped near enemies, you hit them with your powerful melee, you went invisible, like, and just like keeping that rotation going. And especially against Akelos, because Akelos is a real son of a bitch if you're not.
That's the rough part
on it. Yeah, that's the toughest bit. That was the one that like I had the most issue with getting done. I ended up solo flawlessing it on my run that I streamed. I wasn't planning on streaming it, but the Chicken Walker wasn't nearly as bad as Akelos, just because like with the Chicken Walker I could just get my reps in. And like if something messed up, just reset and do it again. But that Assassin's Cowl build on an Arc Hunter, I'll have to see if I can find that video that I took that from, but it was very good. I liked it a lot. What about you guys?
That's been my favorite aspect of Lightfall by far. Just build crafting. I have 2 or 3 different builds for every element for every main class now. That's just been a lot of fun to play with. And man, there's just the combination of that we can put together via artifact mods and some of the weapons and stuff that we have now. I mean, shoot, if you want to, you can run around with infinite void heavy weapons. If you like to use swords or LMGs or anything like that, if you've got a decent commemoration or a corrective measure, you can mix in Bricks from Beyond with void weapon channeling and a bunch of surge mods and whatnot, and you basically can use your LMG 100% of the time in whatever content that you're looking for. It's I love stuff like that. It mixes in really well with a lot of Void Hunter builds for basically keeping 100% Devour up and 100% invisibility. I ran through what is the current exotic mission for the Excalibur? Avalon. I ran through the legend version of that entirely with my hunter. Just using Heart Shadow, the sword, because you never run out of heavy ammo, and I've just got 100% Devour, so nothing can kill me. And every time I kill something, I go invisible. It was hilarious. I was just walking around with a bunch of confused Vex and a hunter. It's so much fun. And between that, Stasis is still really good if you're a warlock. It's still essentially one of the top tier builds out there. Starfire is going to Starfire until Starfire can't Starfire anymore, which will probably be next season because, good God, they've got to do something about it. There's no way they're not going to nerf Starfire at some point in time. Just the sheer damage you can get out of it is just unreal when you get your rotations and rockets down right. But that's the beauty, though. Like, if I'm running against a particular boss, like for me, when I run Ikelos solo, I'm using Starfire and just laughing as wither hordes and grenades just fly in his direction. Or rather, or not Ikelos, because fusion doesn't work against him, but the final boss is who I mean there. But between that, I mean, you can run a stasis build against Ikelos where you just use you build up a super and just use the scepter, Agar's scepter, for a ridiculous amount of damage. I'm having a lot of fun with Arc on Titan. I'm running a basic Roaring Flames, Heart of Inmost Light Scorch build, where you can become an unkillable Scorch monster, setting entire rooms on fire with firebolt grenades, because good lord, Bungie broke those things as well. There's a lot of fun to be had in build making right now, and it's probably where I spend the vast majority of my time.
Heck yeah. Nem, what about you?
See, so on the other hand of the spectrum... I will mirror what TBL said, that there's a lot of really cool potential builds. I, however, am a shiny chaser.
Yes.
And if there's not a shiny for me to chase, I don't chase it.
Yeah.
So for me, really, like, the only things that I do on a weekly basis is I go into the Destiny 2 LFG server and look for Nezarec checkpoints. And I'm currently chasing after
the shoddy.
The shoddy, yeah. And that's it. Here's the thing.
It's a good shotgun.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I'm not going to tell you when I got mine, but okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you got yours in like the first or second run.
I got it in the first run on contest.
I mean, you did it on contest. You deserve it.
Got it.
Outside of that, I don't really vibe with Excalibur. So I personally haven't found a reason to go do the exotic mission to upgrade it, because I don't plan on using it. I haven't touched strikes.
Yeah.
So I legitimately have not even seen the changes that they've implemented since Lightfall came out.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I did do a few lost sectors to get the Stasis Warlock gauntlets, because I heard those were really, really fun. And I've used them. However, I don't know if the others have benefited from it, because I've used them in PvP. So I try to give my team the Stasis Overshields. Yeah, I mean, again, the build potential is awesome and it's fun and stuff like that, but I just, if there's nothing for me to chase, like, I feel like I have the weapons that I like, and the ones that I'm comfortable using, and a lot of them are from Vow of the Disciple. Like, I got the Stasis Fusion from there, and I got a decent pulse rifle from it as well, and those are like my to-go, because I love, like, I understand that Strand is the new hotness, and it's very fun, because I absolutely adore the Suspend build. Minus, I didn't really use it with, like, the necrotic grips, or the osteo. I just use it with my fusion rifle from Vow, because it has demolitionist. So I'm constantly getting those shackle grenades, and I constantly have the Weaver's Trans active, and that's just Suspend for days. But I'm a stasis guy at heart. I love the concept of stasis. I love the visuals of stasis. So naturally, that's what I rock, and I still don't have anything new that I really use for it. So, I am also getting or chasing some of the red weapon borders from Root of Nightmares. That auto rifle is freaking insane.
Oh yeah, Root is great.
It's so good. I got a really cool shotgun from it as well, the legendary.
With repulsor brace?
No, with destabilizing rounds and Firefly.
Fuck
pretty good.
Or Dragonfly, whichever. Yeah. And like for Void, Chef's Kiss.
Yeah.
Really, really fun. And that's really about it. Like I don't my seasonal grind days are really, really over. It's just not content that I really vibe with. and there's not a whole lot for me to chase in there personally as an individual player, not speaking for anybody out there. So I don't do it.
Yeah. The raid has some like pretty solid weapons in there. When my buddies and I were getting together to do like master challenges, I got the trace rifle, the Acacia's Dejection.
Ooh, yeah.
This thing has reconstruction and incandescent on it.
Yes, it's so good.
So good. And because it's adept, I can like get more out of those as I keep working through it. So I'm trying to murder everything with it.
It's really good.
Great. It's really fun.
It's insane. So because I've been doing Nezarec checkpoints, that's kind of been my go-to weapon for running. Mm-hmm. When I have to do like the orb to connect the dots essentially. Because it's just like sprints into the thing, and I'm holding down that button immediately, just like laser in and out.
Yeah,
it's very fun. But speaking of Root, TBL, how have you enjoyed Root of Nightmares?
I haven't.
What?
Oh,
I haven't touched that raid. Are you kidding me?
Buddy.
Oh my man.
You underestimate the casualness of my game time these days.
I mean, hey, bro, listen, hey, yo, same, but you got to get in there. It's really
pretty
fun.
It's real pretty.
It's hands down one of the more beautiful raids that Bungie has put out there.
Right.
That being said,
are you about to talk about how the tie-dye-ness of the Traveler is kind of off-center, and so it's not exactly mirrored from one side to the other? Or are you going to talk about something else?
Oh, you can see that in the pictures that I posted. But
okay, yeah.
That being said, that raid has its quirks, and said quirks have like stopped my team, my group of friends that when we went in there, from progressing for like a solid hour and a half to 2 hours.
Dude.
Oh no.
And when something like that is just out of your control.
Yeah.
Boy, is it upsetting.
Nezarec on Master can like chump my butt, dude. It sucks so bad. I think my team spent like 4 hours trying to do the challenge because the condition didn't tell you that it wasn't met until after you got it, or like we would have just enough DPS to get him down before he completely wiped everybody, but it then didn't count as a clear. It just wiped us. So it was like,
that's frustrating.
Nezzy.
So
I hate you, buddy.
I haven't really, I have encountered some quirks during Nezzy, but I think the biggest one that halted my group from completing was in the one where you have to jump across the thing.
Oh, Cision.
On the three, that one. So if you're not aware of TBL, do you know the mechanics of that particular?
Yeah. I know the mechanics of the fight.
Okay, so are you aware of how inconsistent those jumpers can be?
I've heard legends.
Now. I will say this. If you're on a hunter, you're fine.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, they're very consistent when you're on a hunter. I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course.
I'm sure they are.
If you're on a warlock, don't even. Just stop even trying. It's not worth your time or energy to even do that. Titan, I've had mixed results.
Don't get me wrong. You can you can get through that encounter if you just like skate across as a warlock. You can absolutely do that. Granted, you have to go outside of the intended mechanics that Bungie wants you to use in order to actually complete it.
They wouldn't have added grapple to the game if they didn't want you to use it.
Man's got a point.
But no, so I mean, the boosters were one aspect of Cision that were kind of getting in the way of our run. But the other one that was really frustrating was the soft lock.
Oh no.
Apparently they fixed that. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't done it
in
a while because I'm just doing checkpoints at this point for the shoddy. But when we went through it, like on the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Boy.
I believe they fixed the soft lock. I think that was something that they were able to do pretty consistently. Now the launchers, I don't know, man.
Ain't no
Physics
saving
be
you.
weird.
Bro, every time I started getting on those launchers, dude, I'm praying to deities I don't even know about, just hoping I make it across the gap.
I'm praying to the sugar plum fairy. I'm praying to the tooth fairy.
You gotta figure out which one works.
I'm praying to the Chicago god Malort. I'm
praying to Heidelin, Mother Crystal, please get me through this chasm. Oh my god!
I'm praying to the incense from last night. Anyways, go ahead.
Aside from that, though, Root of Nightmares is a really, really fun raid to go through.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that it's not overly complicated in mechanics.
Yeah,
it's basically the same
starter.
It's basically the same mechanic throughout the entire thing. But no, I recommend you give it a shot at some point because it's fun. It's a really fun raid.
If you're around in a couple of weeks, because I am trying to take like a hard break and like not really doing a lot of helps. Like in the effort to do more variety stuff. Like I've been playing Dredge on stream. That game's fun. But if you're around in a couple of weeks and you still haven't run it, like let me know, man. Like we can get some stuff done.
I'll hop in.
Heck yeah. Well, gentlemen, I think there's some dinner that needs to be had. And
could you guys hear my stomach?
Yeah, I can, like it's picking up on the mic, and I don't know if I can edit that out. So
nah, it's about to be talking more than I am.
So I just want to say thank you guys once again for being on. I miss you both.
I'll miss you too.
Me too.
When it
was good catching up.
Yeah, talking to you guys like once a week for like 4 years, 5, like how many years?
And not an insignificant amount of time.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I missed you guys. So, do you guys have any final thoughts before we like get to like popping out of here?
I mean, absolutely thrilled to be on here with you tonight. It's been far too long, and you're right. I mean, we were doing basically a Sunday show for the better part of 4, almost 5 years together. It's a long time.
Yeah, man.
That's a long time to be working together, and I have missed the conversations. I may not pine for the days of having to go back and do all the work that was entailed with Planet Destiny. But one thing I absolutely loved was getting together and just chatting with you guys, because this never felt like a job.
Yeah.
And I know there were a lot of times when we were like, oh man, Sunday's coming around and we got to stop doing what we're doing to go get on a show. That always dissipated.
What is there to talk about this week?
Yeah. Oh God, well, how are we going to figure out the news and all of that? For me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, that always dissipated about 35 seconds into the actual call. Because I just found myself like having so much fun talking to you guys. Like, oh God, it's like just sitting back and hanging out with my friends. That's what the podcast was for me. It was never really work.
Yeah.
It was sitting around, hanging out with my friends. And every time we finished it, I always sat back and thought, man, I'm glad we did that.
Yeah. The only time that ever felt like it was a job was when everything was breaking on OBS. And it was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Everything's breaking. Nim's face is no longer appearing on the screen. Why is that happening?
Disappears. I freeze. At a perfect time. Those are the times.
It's fun. It's very this has easy been great. To branch out in conversations with y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Nim? Any final thoughts?
On?
No, just in general. Just in general.
How you feeling about the stock market right now, brother?
Right. It was definitely fun catching up with you guys again, and I can't believe that it had been already 6 months.
Yeah, man.
We had kind of like branched off and started doing our own thing. I mean, I know TPL stopped streaming for a good minute because of work, and now recently he's gotten back into it, and No, it's good catching up again. And even though I'm definitely a much more casual player of the game, there's still aspects of it that's kind of cool to talk about. I mean, it's not a game that I hate. I love the game.
Yeah.
I miss the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of big chilling at the moment.
The Nim plays Steam review of Destiny. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. Thumb sideways.
Yeah, thumb sideways.
What? Yeah.
Mid.
Is I.
Yeah. I don't know. I've missed talking to you guys, and it's been this show has been going for 8 months now. And
yes.
Because there was a little bit of an overlap between oh shit, I'm gonna be out of a job and and I should get I should try to turn something else. So it's nuts that it's been that long. It's nuts that it's been this long since we've been in a call together to really talk shit out. But yeah man, I appreciate you guys.